Welcome to
the local lowdown and
find out what's happening in Lavaca County, Texas. Now here are your hosts, Murray and Michelle.
Hello everybody, this is Murray back with you on this edition of the Local Lowdown podcast. This will be for the May 8th and 9th editions of all our papers in Lavaca County. We'll also be doing a short review about the Luling Newsboy, so we want you to stay tuned for that. And I have been asked about the deadline for the Moulton graduation pages that's coming up in this next paper. Unfortunately, those deadlines are past, but my partner, Michelle, how you doing, Michelle?
I'm great. I'm glad you recognized I was here. I thought you forgot about me.
I did for a minute, but that couldn't happen for long.
No, because I'd have just started talking.
Anyway, Michelle's going to give you folks in Moulton, this is precisely for Moulton, on what you can do, even though you wasn't able to get your ad in this time. We're going to do something afterwards. So go ahead, Michelle, tell them what's going on.
So we're going to make sure that all the graduates, of course, are recognized next week by their pictures, individual pictures in the paper, and that's going to be all the grads. And we have some great business advertisers that sponsored that. So you'll see that in next week's edition that's going to be published on the 13th, 14th. And then the week after, unpublished on May 23rd, will be, you'll have the opportunity to put in your Honor Your Grad ads, is what we're calling it. So they will be placed throughout the paper. You'll have the opportunity to select black and white or color versions. And those ads are going to be due to us next week, which is May 17th. And so you can email your ad copy. We can design them for you. Send in your pictures, and that all can go to, which address do you want that to go to, Murray? You want it mine or yours?
Yeah, let them send it to you.
Okay, so my address is long like everyone else's. The first part's short. It's just ads at lavacacountytoday.com, and all of those words are spelled out. Lavaca County and Today are all fully spelled out. So, and we'll put that on our Facebook pages as well. And there will be an ad in next week's edition, so you'll have a day or so to get that in if you don't see it.
Well, are they going to be SIG ads, or are they going to be any size?
No, they're going to be different sizes. So okay. We'll put that up on what size you could pick. And you'll have different, of course, prices for each, and color will be a little bit more. But you can make those as special and personal as you want. So definitely you still have time to honor your graduate.
Yeah, the reason I said send these to Michelle is because she's pretty much in charge of these ads, and she thinks everything. But anyway, send it to her, and also they can call, right?
Yes.
If they need to call, give them that number.
It's 361-798-2481.
Yeah, that'll work. And before we get started, at the end of this podcast, I am going to give you all the area playoffs for the local teams and that are still in the playoffs. We'll do that at the end of this podcast, so stay tuned for that. Do you have anything you want to say before we go into the papers, or no?
No.
Okay.
I don't know.
All right, Michelle's going to start off with the flagship, the Hallettsville Tribune-Herald. Go ahead, Michelle.
All right, well, big shout out to the local hometown winners of their first ever state track championship. That was a great, let me just tell you, sometimes state championships happen a lot around this area.
Right.
And that is actually very lucky and fortunate. It does not happen for everyone that way. You go to some towns that have never seen a state championship brought home. So to us, it's like, oh, this is the first ever. And that seems like we've waited forever for that to happen, but really some people wait a lot longer. But getting to the state championship track meet in general,
right,
the state track meet is a big feat. So congrats to all the athletes that made it there, but special shout out, of course, to the Brahmas for bringing home their first ever state track championship. It is Teacher Appreciation Week, and I a special place in my heart goes out to teachers, maybe because I'm married to one, I don't know. But in general, I know the sacrifices they make.
You're married to one, and I have a daughter who's one. So
we actually are pretty partial to the teachers, and we know the sacrifices they make. I always say this time of the year, I don't even know how they get up and have the energy to go to work, because the kids are done, they're done, everyone's kind of done.
Well, they gotta love it. That's what that's all about. They gotta love it.
So special thank you to all the teachers in our area. I'm hoping, if we can't get it done on the papers, I haven't talked to Murray about it yet, but I pretty much can convince Murray to jump off a bridge. So we may do something on our local Lowdown podcast, and it may just publish there if we can't get it in our papers. But I'd like to nominate a teacher and why that they're in the Lavaca County area. I guess we could include Luley, but because Nicole would help us with that. But there's some very special teachers out there, and I think that they deserve
special. Is that
special
something that you would want to put on our group page?
Yeah, I think so. Don't you think?
I don't see a problem with that. Are you going to leave that open to people to
send it in,
to say who they want to vote for? Or?
Yeah. I don't know. We'll talk about the details. I just threw it at Murray. This is how our ideas get started. Y'all see the actual process. But we're going to talk about it right after, as Murray's going to take me to lunch or breakfast. I don't know what time.
Boy, she's dreaming about that one. But anyway.
Over lunch or breakfast, we'll discuss it. So look for that to be coming on our local Lowdown page. Mental health, I cannot tell you, it's Mental Health Awareness Month. We'll have something throughout the month in our papers, but it is super important, guys. And if you don't believe me, that's fine, because you're not going to hurt my feelings. But I am telling you, everyone suffers with their own mental health struggles. Yep. You're not alone. We all have them, but some are more severe. And there is help. So make sure that you seek help. And the biggest thing I think in the world is, if you feel you're not alone in something, it does help you get through it.
Yeah, it's when people feel like they're alone, that's when bad things can happen. That's when suicides can happen. And I know I had a little brother that passed away from cancer, and he recovered the first time he had it, and he was a different person after that happened. He was, instead of getting fired up about something or something that somebody did, he would always tell me when I would get fired up, and I'm bad about doing that, he would say, "Murray, you have no idea what's going on with that person. You're not walking in his shoes. You don't know what kind of problems he has. And so we need to keep that in mind before we live like Michelle. Before you jump on Chuck Groff, you don't know if he's been in the garage, bumped his head. You don't know.
Actually, I do, when he comes in with the big Band-Aid on his head.
No, but
what about that man in the donut line this morning?
Well,
how did you feel when that?
I got pretty fired up, and I was gonna stop at one of our local donut places and go through the drive-thru real quick, because I had to be here for our important staff meeting, and I was really wanting a cup.
No one's late.
Yeah, I was really wanting a cup of coffee and a donut. So I got to the little drive-thru, and Jimmy Apple was right behind me. He was also coming to this important meeting. And just as I started to pull in, some old man pulled out of the drive-thru going in the wrong direction. And I got pretty fired up in my mind, and although I'm 81, I looked at him, and he looked like about 90, but I was afraid he about could still have whipped my butt, so I didn't say too much to him. But I flew off the handle, but then again, I didn't think about what he might be going through. He might also had a load of donuts, and his wife was waiting for him, and he was afraid he'd get home late. So,
yeah, or a divorce could have happened over there.
But mental health is not a joking thing, folks. Yeah.
We do joke about almost everything, so take that. We do have one more result from the Fiddler's Frolic, and that was, I think it's called Gone to Texas, because they definitely, the people that compete in this category are not from Texas. So read all about that. We also have election results. I'm not going to lie to you guys. I found the election results in Lavaca County. I shouldn't say results. The election turnout in Lavaca County.
Very poor.
Very sad. So if you're going to complain to me about anything going on, I'm going to tell you, did you vote? Because that is your first step in having the right, in my opinion,
Yep, if you didn't vote, you don't have no gripe coming.
So, I mean, you can't your candidate won't always win, or your proposition won't always win or lose that you vote for. How you want the turnout to be may not always be in your favor, but that's your first voice. And then if you do that, then I feel like you have the right to complain about everything else. But if you don't do that, then you didn't. So a whole lot of you have no right to complain. So
That's true.
That's just how I feel. You can hate me for it. We did have hosted Great State Republicans. They hosted the runoff for the candidates. So this is going to be the sheriff election. I forgot the date, but that's going to be coming up.
I believe it's May 28th, and I may be wrong, but I'm pretty sure that's correct.
So check out a little bit about what was going on at that forum. Clayton wrote a great article about the stolen vehicles. It's kind of an update. That is still an ongoing problem in the area. So basically his best advice that was given in the article, and our best advice given to you today, is stay vigilant. Make sure you are paying attention.
And keep your vehicles locked up.
All the time. And then Larry Joe, isn't he the cutest?
Yeah, I don't know what Larry's going to think about that
He
art.
loved it.
Oh, you already showed him?
Yes, but he said that his eyebrows are a little bit more gray, so I guess I'll have to change
Yeah,
that.
you need to touch him up a little bit.
Yeah.
But he's a good-looking man anyway, you
Yeah.
look at it.
Right. But Larry gives your weather report, and it was hot. And yesterday was probably the worst. I mean, no doubt.
They actually had a weather warning up that said it could get to 90 degrees. And with the humidity, it felt a lot hotter than that. But
Yeah. And Fiddlers did a little bit different with their Hall of Fame this year. So read about how it's the Barbecue Cook-Off Hall of Fame versus the Fiddling Hall of Fame. Also, I guess it was yesterday. Tomorrow's the deadline. I don't know. What day was that? But Visherod is looking for a superintendent again, and so the deadline was approaching, and you'll hear more about that. And why wouldn't you want to be a superintendent there? You only got to go to school 4 days now, Murray.
yeah.
That's good
You
stuff.
bet.
Have you ever seen this movie that Son of Flubber? That you have
Yes, I
saw?
have.
I
Yes,
have
I
not
have.
seen it. But Chuck talks about that and other things, of course, in his 50 years column that he compiles every week. And Henry talks about Mother's Love because it is Mother's Day this weekend. And he also has a new trivia question related to Mother's Day.
What is it?
It is, who organized the first Mother's Day service of worship in the United States?
Well, if I knew the answer to that, I'd go ahead and tell it. But I don't. So.
Yeah, it's a good one. It's hard. And I think I got off on the election tangent about how people didn't vote, but we do have election results in our paper this week, so make sure you check those out. The nurses, it's also Nurses Week, and not week, month.
It's month, yeah.
Month.
Yeah, we've
And-
got a lot of recognized this month.
Yes,
a
we
lot
do.
of things going on.
But Florence Nightingale, it's the day actually is her birthday, like the day that they recognize it, but it is a whole month. Thank a nurse. I can't do, like, there's some jobs I know I can't do. Nursing is one of them. I don't like blood, gross.
No.
I don't like anything like that.
That takes a very special person to be a nurse and a doctor. And no, I couldn't do it either.
But they are very important, so make sure that,
By the way,
yeah,
that ad right there,
yeah.
Lee County Fair, and we appreciate your ad, folks. But, Michelle, do you know what that Spanish word means right there?
Beans. Does it mean beans?
Dos borrachos. Do you know what that
I
means?
thought it was beans, is it not?
Dos borrachos.
2 beans.
2 drunks.
Oh.
Borracho is drunk.
Oh.
Because the reason I know is because people used to call me that years
Oh,
ago.
well, there you go.
Yeah, the Hispanic people that I loved and worked with, they called me
A borracho.
borracho, or stupid borracho, stupid drunk, borracho pendejo, something like that.
Maybe. And they
We may
called
have
you
to
that?
have- Oh yeah,
Were they
because
accurate?
I called them uglier names, before that. No, we worked together, but the reason I know that is because I was in business, and I had a photography studio with a Hispanic fellow and his wife and his children. And
They
I said,
called you that too?
no, but I asked them what it meant, and I loved the sound of the word. So I said, why don't y'all just start calling me Faracha?
Look at Murray. He can roll those R's. And then more on the state teams inside. I say teams because we are lucky enough in Lavaca County that Yoakum shared some of that recognition with the Hallettsville team.
Yeah, they both were considered state champions.
And that's pretty amazing.
You bet.
So
You
10,
bet.
15 minutes apart. So there we go.
Yeah.
And speaking of 10, 15 minutes apart, can we not talk about that yet? That both Sacred Heart and St. Paul teams are going all the way to Arlington.
They're
this year.
15 miles apart, and they're going all the way to Arlington to play one another.
And to be fair to the schools, it's not their choice by any means.
Yeah.
They would probably rather play at the Starplex or maybe Schulenburg. I don't know. Anywhere probably within a 20-mile radius would
Really?
be much better. So please know we're not putting digs at Sacred Heart or St. Paul.
No.
We just are offering our sympathy
No.
for them having to travel so far to play.
No, we're going to have, now don't give it all away, because we're going to have this playoffs at the end of the broadcast.
Yeah, so stay tuned.
Yeah.
In the obituaries, we have one, and it is Marvin James Haas. Marvin James Haas, a resident of Houston, peacefully passed away on Sunday, April 26, 2024, at the age of 78. So our deepest sympathy to Mr. Haas's family.
You bet.
We have more information on things going around, some memorials. I'm sorry, I don't know Ms. Karen Steffek, but I do remember that Mr. Landon Kane, he was a young man that passed away a year ago. It's hard to believe that it was a year ago.
Well, Karen Steffek, I know her because her mother works at Hofer's, Ann Kostelnik. We knew her well, and Henry Joyashik, he's worked with Ann for a long time. And Ann puts this memorial ad in here every year. So condolences to Ann. I know that that's something you never get over. So God bless her and God bless the family.
And we're going to try to get off the side a little bit and move on. We have more on that for, and then we have the scholarship winners from Sacred Heart. Guys, we are going to be full of graduation stuff, and well deserved, because these kids have worked 13 to 14 years to get to where they are and to move on to the next adventures in their life.
That's quite a large group of kids, too.
It is. And so congrats to all of them. And there's also the donors underneath. So make sure that you keep paying attention, and so you see who those seniors are. So if you see them walking around the street, you can tell them a big congratulations as well.
You bet. Congratulations.
Are we just going to skip sports then? Because you're going to talk about later?
Well, what we're going to talk about later is the playoffs. You can, if there's something there you want to mention.
Well, all four Hallettsville teams are in regards to the 2 baseball and 2 softball teams that are still in the playoffs. Of course, Sacred Heart is almost at that state level. So best of luck to them. Hallettsville still has a few weeks to go, and we hope that it is going to be weeks. There is also Hallettsville High School had their sports banquet, so you'll see Chuck Groff covered their special awards. So congrats to all of them. What else?
There's a lot of sports going on.
We have more scholarship winners. The educational grant that was given to junior high educators. Jacqueline Smith wrote that article. So thanks for her submitting that. She's part of that Rothbauer family, so she knew how to write an article.
Oh, yeah, you bet.
Sometimes you can't take the paper out of the family, right?
Mm-hmm.
More soil and essay winners, so congrats to them. A big thank you from the Veterans Appreciation Day ceremony and all those that supported that. Heart screenings were held at HISD, so a little bit of that information. We're just going to keep on going here. We are almost to the end. There is still a lot I scrolled through and didn't cover, so you better go ahead and look at that. And let's talk about this horny toad. Now, okay, So I like to have that wow effect or like.
Well, you definitely
awe.
got it there.
And so I don't want a simple image in my paper. So, and I don't want the same image as Murray, because if you pick up a molten paper and a Housel paper, I don't want you to have the same boring stuff. So I changed it up and I got in trouble.
Well, let me just say, I wrote this article about the horned toads, and they're practically extinct, and they're trying to bring them back, and they're having some good results. And I just told a little story about when I was a little kid, about first time I saw one, and I kind of got off on a tangent too about my old daddy and his antics. But anyway, I digress from that. The only problem I had with Michelle is she's got a big old frog.
Toad.
And he's got horns. And I don't know, did you draw those horns on
I
there?
did not.
Well, they came like that.
It came like that.
Now, if you want to see a real one, go look at the molted eagle. Because mine came from Texas Park and Wildlife. I don't know where this came from, but probably Adobe Photoshop or something. But anyway, no, it's kind of a neat story, I thought. And if you've never seen a horned toad, they're called horned frogs, horned toads, and horny toads. And they're cute little fellas. They don't get any bigger than about 5 inches. And my dad always told me, when you see them in the garden, that's where I saw one when I was little, he said, leave them alone, because they're great for killing things that are bad for the garden. But the reason that the horned toads are nearly extinct is because of the dear old human beings, as usual, spraying these insecticides and wiping out their food source, which was the harvest ants. And between the fire ants and the pesticides, they pretty well got their food chain killed out. But thank goodness for TC University and Texas Park and Wildlife. They're doing a lot to bring them back, and they're breeding them in these zoos, and so hopefully they'll be back. You don't hardly ever see them. You won't see them if you live on the coast. You've got to live probably at least Austin and past toward the hill country, and then back out west. But anyway, Michelle did good other than that. But
other than that, let's talk about, though, what Murray's saying to you guys is all insects and things have purpose. It's hard to believe, but I don't know, did we talk about me getting stung last week? I don't think we did. No, because it happened after our podcast.
Well, I'm sure you're going to say it now.
Yeah, I'm going to say it. So I was getting out of my car and I thought someone shot me. I've never been stung. I don't remember being stung before. But I couldn't find the culprit. It was either a bee or a wasp. But I had to go as low as to have Ani pull the stinger out of my back.
Oh, my God.
But it was rough. But I'm pretty sure that insect had a purpose. I don't know what it was. That day it was to sting me. But unfortunately, I probably killed it by it stinging me, right?
Well, what was it?
I don't know. I could never find it. But it left a red mark. It made me feel bad. I didn't go into anaphylactic shock, luckily. And I survived.
If it had a stinger in your back, it probably was a bee. They're very important because they make honey.
They do.
Yeah.
But that day, it just decided I was so sweet.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, without a doubt.
So there we go.
Let's move on.
Let's move on.
We're moving over to her favorite newspaper, the Shiner Gazette. And we need to kind of speed this up a little bit because we wasted half our time on the Tribune and your sting. Oh. And that silly looking horned toad.
Yeah.
But go ahead on.
Well, speeding it up and then handing it over to me does not go well. But there's a council report. More reports on the stolen vehicles. Here we go, guys. Another state championship. That's what I'm saying. We are so lucky. I cannot even tell you to be in this Lavaca County communities that bring home these state championships. I don't even think these kids know that riding on a fire truck celebrating your state championship is such a big deal because they do it so often.
Yes,
but I hope they do understand how amazing that is. So congrats to the Lady Cardinals as they claim theirs. There's a blood drive going on. Those are very important. People need blood. Like, you have to have blood to survive. And you don't know sometimes how important that is till someone in your family needs it, and it's hard to come by it.
Well, you know what? We congratulate the kids, and that's very important. We need to congratulate the people who train the kids, and that's the coaches. And I don't know if you know any coaches.
I don't know. Let me think. I do know some.
But,
and I think people are probably waiting for me because I've had a couple people say you haven't talked about your husband retiring on the podcast. I'm not doing that yet. He hasn't retired yet. That's what I've told people. We're not going to talk about this.
Well, in today's economy, he probably can't afford to retire.
Not completely.
You know, you're talking to an old man that's 81, nearly 82.
He does it for the love of it.
And he's still working and getting shut out of his donut and his black coffee.
Yeah, on a morning on the way to work.
Yeah.
But so it's coming. You have to listen. I'm not going to tell you when I'm going to talk about it, but I'm going to tell you that school has to end before I do. So, but yes, the coaches hold a special place in my heart. I got to see it firsthand from someone that I really care about that does coach and all the hard work he puts in. To our friends that we have tons of friends that are coaches, and so I see the care and concern that they do daily. And then now I have, my son played at a small private school in Corpus, and those guys were almost all volunteers because the school was very small. So volunteers are always the heart of things because it's as selfless as coaching is. You do get paid a little for that. But volunteers don't. And then I see the wonderful coaches my daughter has and how they affect and build the character of who she is. So very important. So yes, congrats to the coaches. There, look, Murray got me on this long tangent and then he's going to tell me you talk too long. That's just how he is, setting me up for failure.
What was that ad? What was that ad I just saw scroll by?
Which one?
The local lowdown.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Thanks for when you get that in the paper. We're going to have a story coming up in our papers on the community connections and their celebration, but the brewery gave them $2,500. Community Connections is a hugely important organization in Lavaca County, and so if you don't know what they are, you're going to learn more about them in our papers soon. But thanks to the brewery for their support. Soil and water conservation winners also in the Shiner papers, so congrats to those kiddos. Tons of sports. We already talked about Sacred Heart and St. Paul playing. Shiner won their first game last night. So they're in Shiner girls, I should say, in the second round. Boys, I think, played today, but I'm not sure. So just best of luck to all those teams that are still playing. Mark Luby went 3 whole pages because he had so much sports. The Shiner girls, they placed 7th in the sprint relay at state, so congrats to them for making it to state and their placement. Tennis going on. Golf. I read this thing last night on Facebook by Coach Winkenwerder, who said that they placed 6th at state, and sometimes that place may sound like 6, not great, but she put it very where it really connected with me. They were 6th out of 200 teams that started the year. So that's amazing. And so don't ever sell yourself short. To get to be number 1 is amazing. Yes, it is. But to come anywhere on that top level is just outstanding and shows your work. So
when you stop and think about how many schools are competing, that's not a bad place to be.
No, not at all. And the Shiner Educational Foundation doing big things for Shiner schools, and the Don Casper Foundation, also in Shiner, doing great things to help these organizations in and around the community. So they gave $10,000 to the Academic and Athletic Foundation to continue their work in the community. So thank you to them. And that's it. Look how fast I went.
Yeah, you did well.
Yeah, now you can take over Yoakum and see how
I don't know.
Now look, wait, I have to talk first. They didn't take my challenge. Yoakum,
Yeah.
do not have accidents this week.
I don't understand it. They're having a real problem over there, and this one happened at lunch.
Yeah,
But
maybe it was like the donut situation, but they didn't stop.
It might have, yeah. Anyway, the headline on this, we got, 3 pictures of wrecked cars. This is in the Yoakum paper. But the headline says, lunchtime wreck, and the important thing is it says no injuries.
Yeah.
So we hope everybody got to get their hamburger or whatever they were going after. And other than the cars being kind of messed up, at least nobody was injured, and that's the important
Being
thing.
hungry can make you do
It'll make you do
crazy
some
things,
stupid stuff.
right?
I'm not calling them stupid, by the way.
And we don't know. It's just we try to make light of certain things. So of course they have election results. I'm not supposed to be talking. You're supposed to be talking.
Well, no, you're doing well. I mean, I'm taking care of the sound over here.
Okay. Well, Wild Times in Old McDade was Murray's article from last week. So if you didn't get a chance to read it last week, pick up the Yoakum paper and you can get that. Tom Tom is coming up, so there's different things about that. We do have some obituaries here. Some of them hit you a little bit harder. I think we've talked about this before. I did not know this little boy or his family, but it does not matter to me by any means. I'm a parent, and I can only imagine the heartache. So to the family of Christopher Ornalis and his untimely and unfortunate accidental death, our deepest sympathies here at the Lavaca County newspapers. But Christopher Angel Ornalis, 3 years old, passed away suddenly April the 27th. He was the wonderful gift of life, born January 27th, 2021, to Jocelyn Ornalis.
Yeah, God bless that little fella, and God bless the family, and our condolences to you all.
And we have Robert Bob Harbers. Eldon Harbers, age 84, went to be with his heavenly father on April 29th, surrounded by his family. He was born February 2nd, 1940 in Yoakum to Eldon Red and Ruby Lee Harbor. Sorry, I'm talking to myself. Well, I'm talking to Murray, but he doesn't always answer me. But I'm sorry, I didn't see there's a third obituary. It's Cerbano Sammy Fernandez. Well, actually, it's in loving memory of him. So it's a memorial. I'm sorry.
Yeah, well, it's very small, so it's hard to see.
So he died actually January 8th of... No, well, pretty recent, January 8th of 2024.
Yeah.
So condolences to his family as well. There's also Sweet Home election results. I'm guessing in the Yoakum paper, that's the actual horned frog.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Yeah, you folks in Yoakum, when you look at this story about the horned frogs, that is a real horned frog in that picture.
I don't see the difference. What is this? There was a field day. That is a huge 6-column picture that shows the kids on one of their jumping fun.
Yeah. That's a bunch of kids on that.
Bunch of kids having fun, right? Boy Scouts troop, Boy Scouts, Girl Scouts, huge advocate of those organizations that provide service. We have the St. Joe, the private school in Yoakum's competing in soccer. Of course, they have lots of sports too. The Lady Bulldogs did in their season, but congrats on a great season and making it to the playoffs.
I tell you what, like you said before, we're very fortunate in this county for the teams that are cranked out from these schools. I tell you what, it is really amazing the quality of athletes that we produce here. We're jumping on over to the Molten Eagle, and that front page is pretty well Clayton Kelly's because he wrote just about all the articles. We've got a story about the Moulton election results, and they're updated. And we have the Moulton Independent School District employees could see an insurance increase, and we have a picture of, I believe that's board members getting sworn in. And then we have a picture of Madison McLaughlin winning at the Houston Livestock Show and Rodeo, and then another article about the reports of stolen vehicles coming in.
Man, Clayton, did he give you donuts or what? You're just
No,
not-
you know, Clayton does a good job, and maybe sometimes he needs to be thanked for the work he does.
Thank you, Clayton.
Thank you, Clayton. And I'll tell you what, when you're a newbie to this business, it takes you a while to get broke in and see what all's going on. But Clayton does a good job, and we're going to be featuring him at the
How long are you a
multimedia.
newbie? I'm still a newbie, right?
Yeah, but this is, he's not that far out of college.
So he's a newbie to the world, you're
Yes,
saying.
he is. And then we have Henry Joe Yashik's town crier. I don't like to brag on him too much because Michelle brags on him so much that it becomes to get kind of irritating. And there's a horned frog story there, and guess what? It's a real horned frog.
It's all right.
So what's Henry Joe saying there? He's
He's talking about the boll weevil.
Oh, yeah.
So we mentioned last week that Henry was going to be going back to some of his childhood and high school and younger days. We'll call them the younger day memories.
Right.
I'm really sad because now I'm like 2 stories behind of getting Henry's in the paper. And y'all all know that Henry tops my list, but I do have to go in order of importance, and unfortunately little Henry's
He's not as important as you think he is, but he's important.
So I apologize, Henry. I'm trying, but because they tell me that summer I'm going to have more space in my paper. So I'm saving them. I am saving them. But definitely check it out. It's a good read. If you miss it, it'll be in my summer edition for sure if I don't get it in before.
Yeah, that was a pretty long article. I actually jumped it inside. I believe I jumped it on page 3 right there. You can scroll down and see. Here comes our friendly little, let's see, what is this? It's a Cisco food truck is rolling in behind our studio. So when you hear these truck sounds, that's not Michelle talking too fast. It's just a truck.
And now it's beeping. So
He's
it's
got his
backing up.
backup horn on.
So yeah, Henry's boll weevil story does go to page 3, so it is quite long. We also have the another obituary, and this is Nancy Brennick Seaver. Nancy, is that not right?
I believe that's right,
Okay.
yeah.
Nancy Brennick Seaver, 94 of Moulton, passed away peacefully at her farm on April 29th, 2024, sitting at a window enjoying her cattle.
Yep. Condolences to the family and friends of that lady.
And we're scrolling now. Good luck to the girls softball team in Moulton. They're having a great year as they keep heading on, so best of luck to them.
Yeah, they're in the semifinals.
And Abby, we're not even going to try to say your last name again, but we've talked about you 3 weeks in a row, and it's well deserved because you did qualify for the state meet in Austin, and you
See,
got 7th place.
That's another thing, like you were talking about a while ago. 7th ain't bad in the
No.
whole state.
It's not
You
at
know,
all.
congratulations, Abby. And you did a great job of representing your town and your school.
Alrighty. And what you have soil and water
Yeah.
conservation winners as
Yeah.
well from Moulton.
Oh, that's some more.
Fire poster winners.
Yeah.
Students are doing great things at the end of this year. What is this, Murray? Looking
Yeah, they're-
forward to the sugar
The
pea.
teacher's they got a garden going on over there, and got a good picture. Unfortunately, I wouldn't be able to put that in color, but it looks good anyway. It's a good black and white picture of tasty vegetables.
We invite you to send us some of those vegetables to try, and we'll talk about
Yeah,
them.
yeah.
Right? This is a fun story. It's Travis Hackenwelder. I don't know that I said it right. I think I did. But he becomes a published author. Read all about that.
Yeah, we continued his story. He had submitted an article to a sports hunting magazine, and his article was accepted. And I wanted to publish the entire article, but I didn't have room in our print edition, so I carried this over to the Molten Eagle Facebook page, and you'll be able to see more pictures of him in his summer camp. They were so impressed at his summer camp that they've invited him to come back as a counselor to help other kids. So I thought it was real interesting, and I appreciate his mom helping me and presenting me with all this information. So congratulations to Travis.
And there's alligators in Waco. I thought they were the Baylor Bears. Now they're the alligators. Oh.
Well, these alligators they don't play football.
Oh.
They eat people, maybe.
Oh, no.
But they're in the Brazos River at Waco, and that's kind of an alarming thing because what they've been finding is small alligators, and guess what happens?
They grow up.
Exactly. But anyway, that's a little story off of The Wire that I picked up, and you folks from Waco, y'all need to check that out. And then our managing editor, Bobby Hariska, has a story about zebras on the loose. So anyway, I think that's going to wrap up the Molten Eagle, and we're going to jump on over now.
So we had horned frogs, zebras, and alligators.
And your bee sting.
And my bee sting.
Yeah.
But that didn't make the paper. I don't
Well,
know why.
wasn't Nicole got in the Luling Newsboy?
So she is definitely, she's reporting on her election results, and we congratulate CJ Watts, who was a great advertiser. And I don't know, I probably shouldn't say this because I'm sure that's like against our rules or something, but I got the chance to talk to CJ for the many weeks leading up to the election, doing her ads, and I could just hear her passion. So I do not know the other candidate at all, but I can tell you that I very much want to congratulate her. I think her passion will help the city of Luling.
Yes, it looks like she loves her town.
Yes.
So much.
What else we got? What is this? So Pioneer Flight Museum helps bring history to life. I'm pretty sure Nicole took all these pictures, and of course, being a photographer,
Does it have
really like it.
An exact location of where that flight museum is?
It says Kingsbury. I don't know. I didn't read it.
So it's not in Luling?
I don't know.
Okay. Well, these newspapers just came out, so Michelle and I hadn't had the opportunity to read them all. But when you're a big lover of Texas history and a photographer as well, you know, that caught my attention, and I'll definitely read more about it because that's something I'd like to go see.
And there's going to be a party going on, so check that out. A celebration that made the front page.
What's that songwriter, Michelle?
Well, Luling songwriter among top 15 performing May 11th. So it talks about, I'm trying to see if there's a name. I'm sure there is, but I don't see it. But check that out. There's also some police reports. It's always good to know what's going on in your community. We encourage the police departments and sheriff departments always to send in what they can, just to help us get the word out. People want to know what's going on. They're talking about a Nurses Week and honoring some of the nurses, so very well-deserved honor, of course. We have another person that took 7th at state, so congrats to him. He made the front page, I think, last week, right?
Mm-hmm.
And 6 advanced to regional tennis, so best of luck to them. They should be playing right now, if I got that right. Farewell to the Chief. So, CJ Watts presented the Fire Chief Charles Royal a plaque for his 25 years of loyal and dedicated service. So, that's always thankful. We talk about firemen a lot, but you know that we find it super important that you honor them whenever you can, and we thank them so much for their service. And thank you, a special thanks to Fire Chief Charles Royal for his 25 years of service.
You bet. You bet. We can't get along without them, folks. That's for sure.
Nicole has great articles. We love Nicole, and so go check that out.
You bet. One thing that I forgot to mention when we were at Molten is on the Molten Facebook page, I have put email addresses of how you can get in touch with me and how you can get in touch with Henry Joe Yashik. And I've already had some folks using those emails, and that way it takes you pretty much directly to the person that's handling a particular thing, and it doesn't go through 2 or 3 different people. And so I encourage people to contact me about content, photographs, articles, and contact Henry for his town crier. But as far as advertising goes, Henry and I have nothing to do with knowing how much or this or that. So call our office over here and talk to Lonnie and Michelle, and they can give you all the information you need to know about your advertising. And now, before we go any farther, I'm going to give you the results on the upcoming, not the results so much as the upcoming playoff games. And I'd like to thank Jimmy Apple for putting this information together for me. And we're going to talk about every team in our area, every team from our newspapers. In the baseball area round, he's got Hallettsville versus Lytle, one game, 7:30 p.m. Friday. That'll be played at Corn City. Then we have Shiner versus Freer. They're going to play a best of three at Corn City. Game 1 is at 5 p.m. Friday. Game 2 at 1 p.m. Saturday. Game 3, if needed, following Game 2. In the TAPS Division 5 state tournament at Clay Gould Ballpark, Arlington, state semifinal Hallettsville Sacred Heart versus Shiner St. Paul, 4 p.m. Friday, final 1 p.m. Saturday. In softball, Class 3A regional quarterfinal, Hallettsville versus Tidehaven, best of three at Columbus. Game 1, 6:30 p.m. Thursday. Game 2, 5 p.m. Friday. Game 3, if needed, following Game 2. In the Class 2A regional quarterfinal, Shiner versus Charlotte, best of three at Corn City. Game 1, 6:30 p.m. Wednesday. Game 2, 6:30 p.m. Friday. Game 3, if needed, 2 p.m. Saturday. Class 1A regional semifinal, Moulton versus Leakey, best of three at Poteet. Game 1 at 6 p.m. Friday. Game 2 at 4 p.m. Saturday. Game 3, if needed, following Game 2. And the TAPS Division 4 state semifinal, Hallettsville Sacred Heart versus Shiner St. Paul, one game, 10:30 a.m. Friday. Allen Sachs Field, Arlington, final, 10:30 a.m. Saturday. Then he added some things for me that we hadn't listed before. Class 3A regional tennis tournament, doubles team 2-0. These must be results, Michelle.
Yeah, I think so.
And that team was April Leopold and Olivia Etzler. And the semifinals are today, which
Thursday. Today's Thursday.
No, Thursday. Thank you.
You're welcome.
And the singles semifinals will be today, and the singles results were 2-0, and that was Braylon Sabola. State tournament will be played May 16th and 17th in San Antonio. And that's all I have, and thank you, Jimmy, for providing that for us. Okay, Michelle, you got anything to close us out with?
I can't talk much because I've talked too much.
No, you've done well. We're just now on to an hour. What the heck?
Let's just keep going. Pretty soon I'll make it to my hamburger for lunch, you think? I just want to say thank you to everyone for listening, participating on our Local Lowdown podcast Facebook page, listening to us here. We really do appreciate it. We want to hear more from you. This isn't supported by the newspaper. I just want to say that. I mean, the newspaper supports us, but like they don't. What our opinions are, they are our opinions.
There are our opinions, and the podcast and the space for that podcast belongs to Murray.
So if he don't like my opinion, he can cut me off or yell at me.
Yeah.
But and you guys are free to whatever. I had this conversation this week with someone, and I said I cannot stand. I'll put it that way, nicely. If you have something that you have an issue or a concern or a thought on the way something is done or the way something happens, go to the source. Don't talk about it amongst other people that have no clue what's going on.
Exactly.
We may not say I am the source. I may not 100% agree with you because I do know what's going on. But you also will be, one, heard, and two, I will respect what you are saying. And I will definitely, 90% of the time, something you said will bring something to light that maybe needs to be brought to light. So you may not know everything about the situation, so you may not be completely accurate, but you also may have great feedback. So go to the source. It's the way to help change happen and understanding, because then we can give you our understanding back. So if you don't agree with us, we'll take it. We'll talk to you about it, but we'll still be right at the end of the day. No, I'm kidding. But I just want to make that, like, my voting thing and me saying that I believe voters should get out. That is not the opinion of the newspaper.
No.
It's the opinion of Michelle Price.
Yeah. Are you done?
I'm done.
Okay. Yeah, that's one thing that people may not, that are going to this local lowdown group and listening to this podcast. This podcast actually began with me on one of my groups, and one of our former employees, Hans, asked me, could we bring it to the newspapers and do the rundown in a podcast, basically just for the newspapers, and that's what we did. But this podcast, like Michelle said, this is our opinion. This podcast, the space for this podcast, and the host for this podcast is all being taken care of by myself, because I have it included with other podcasts that I pay for. So the newspaper supports us, like Michelle said, but our opinions and the things we say are not necessarily the opinions of this newspaper. The local lowdown group, we try to keep that fun. We do put the podcast on there, which we try to keep it fun. But if you've got a project that you're trying to promote or something that you're passionate about, our podcast isn't the place for that. Local Lowdown's not the place for that. So if you get your post rejected, don't take it personally. That's just the policy of our group and this podcast. So with that being said, if Michelle doesn't have anything else, we're going to wrap it up because we've already set a record on time.
And it's time for lunch.
Yeah. But anyway, thank you, folks. Thanks for listening.
I have a hot date.
Oh, no.
You may know him.
No, I don't know him. And the group, also, Michelle, she threw this idea at me a while ago. We haven't had time. I don't know what's going to become of that. But anyway, we'll put something together. And we'll see you next week. Goodbye, everybody.
Goodbye.